Yo, good morning, folkers. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. This is Snapzilla Gorilla. Welcome to the Definition of Anarchy. Today on September 5th, 2020, on a Saturday, I want to discuss the amazing Lucas and his appeal to authority, okay? So he did a live a few days ago where a so-called doctor called in to talk about the 6% number that the CDC put out about Tecate-19. Okay, and basically what he said was that 6% only applied to deaths where the death certificate only stated Tecate-19, and that's all that means. It doesn't mean that it killed all on its own, or that, you know what I mean. And then he said that the 94% included comorbidities that were caused by Tecate-19. And he kind of dismissed the whole idea where, he said, as a matter of fact, he said that 94% has nothing to do with deaths where there was a alternate cause of death from a pre-existing condition, say like whatever would result from diabetes or heart disease or lung disease, and you just so happen to have Tecate-19 at the same time. He's saying that 94% isn't even a part of that. And I call bullshit, okay? I call bullshit on that. That makes no sense at all. We were told by experts. In many different fields, on experts of different capacities, like the Tecate-19 task force that's part of the White House. They sat up there and told us that if you died of a heart attack and you had heart disease and you clearly died from something else other than Tecate-19, if you have Tecate-19 at the same time, you're going to be put down as a Tecate-19 death. We were told this by multiple experts. So for him to say that that's not involved in that is completely dishonest, okay? So this is not really about bashing that so-called doctor. First of all, he called in and said he was a doctor, presented no, what they call them things, credentials or anything like that. He just said, I'm a medical doctor. Okay. But that was after about 45 minutes of him talking. Okay. Now, I'm not here to dispute necessarily what the doctor said, but even though I have said those things that I said about what certain experts said, what the Tecate-19 experts said about applying Tecate-19 to deaths that had nothing to do with Tecate-19, you just so happen to have it. As a matter of fact, the instructions from the CDC regarding how to fill out the Tecate-19 death certificate clearly states, and I presented this in a video, clearly states that even if you suspect someone of having had Tecate-19, put Tecate-19 down there. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm talking about? Because guess what? A lot of people are dying without having been tested at all. And if they died of something that they feel like that the Tecate-19 can cause, without testing, they're still giving them the Tecate-19 death. So for him to sit up there and say that, see, I wish I was able to talk to him. I would have been presented that, because he was clearly dishonest. If you're in the medical field, you claim, then you have to be aware that they are doing these things and manipulating the numbers. You have to know that. They told you that they're manipulating the numbers. All right? They told you that. Okay? And then let's talk about so he brought up the flu, right? Said that the flu numbers that they give you is merely an estimate, right? He's saying that whatever number of people are tested, tested and have died from the flu, they multiply that by 4. And that's what they attribute to the flu. If you have certain symptoms that they feel that the flu caused, right? Well, they're doing the same thing to Tecate-19, because guess what? Some people are dying before they get to the hospital. And so if it's reported, oh, well, he was talking about shortness of breath, he was talking about this, he had a cough, he had a fever, boom, boom, boom. Okay, well, no point in testing him. We're just going to give it the Tecate 19 and call it a day. They're doing the same shit with the Tecate that they're doing with the flu. This dude sat there and talked for 45 minutes about these numbers, but didn't really explain shit. Because the real question is, if Tecate 19 exists as they say it does, is it really as dangerous as they make it out to be? Dangerous enough to shut us down, to oppress us, to take our rights away. Is it dangerous enough if you have no other underlying conditions and you have no other comorbidities and whatnot? Is it really that dangerous when it only amounts to about 11,000 deaths on its own with no other issues going on? And let's talk about these other issues, these other comorbidities. Let's talk about it. Because now the Tecate 19 is the third leading cause of death in this country, while every other cause of death has drastically diminished. And guess what? There are over 120-something thousand more deaths than normal than last year, okay? Than last year and the year before, all right? 120-something thousand, and that can't even be attributed to Tecate 19. There are other factors. There are other things that are killing people more, like stress, depression, suicides, all these things because of the reaction of our government, or y'all government, to the Tecate 19 pandemic, all right? So when you think about all that and you have all that information in your mind, I don't know how you can draw the conclusion that this doctor that called in to Amazing Lucas' show, how he has any validity. How do you validate what he says just from a conversation? He sounded smart. He sounded like he knew what he was talking about. So therefore, I'm just gonna ride with that. You know, the Amazing Lucas has been doing a lot of great work, and I appreciate his content. He is very objective, in my opinion, and some people don't like that. People don't like objectivity because you have to criticize both sides or all sides when necessary. You have to bring up the BS whenever necessary, no matter who does it. But in this case, I feel like he dropped the ball a little bit because there are a lot of questions I would have asked his doctor if I were able to talk to him. All right. So let's get into the appeal to authority that the Amazing Lucas has displayed. All right. It's an appeal to authority. What does that mean? That means that if, for instance, you present an argument that you feel is sound based on what an expert has told you, right? Based on what an authority figure, which you may consider an authority in that field, has said to you, or several authorities, without any other research or any other information or any without a broad spectrum of information from different experts in that field. You just go with what that one or what those few experts have said, as opposed to checking out the rigorous scientific methods or the testing and all that other shit, right? So that's what he did. He said, oh, this doctor, he's a doctor, and he said this, that, and the third. Therefore, it's gospel. That is appeal to authority. And I know he has to know better than that. He has to know better than that. Because guess what? The reason it's appeal to authority is because you have